Hello and welcome to another episode of Learning with WorkX. My name is Yogesh and I have over 20 years of experience in HR. I have helped thousands of HR professionals like you in building their dream career in HR. Today, we are going to discuss everything about CIPD. So I'm joined here with Mr. Andrew today from eCareers, who happens to be your partner as well for CIPD qualifications. So welcome, Andrew. It is pleasure seeing you as always. How are you?
Delighted to be here. Thank you very much. Doing very well. Thank you, Yogesh.
So, Andrew, let's start with the agenda. So today we are going to talk about all CIPD.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll discuss how professionals in the Middle East, they can advance their careers with the help of these qualifications.
Yeah.
And then we will get into some technical details of what makes you successful, or even more, popular question is how to fail CIPD.
Yeah.
So we are going to discuss all of that. Yes. So again, I welcome you to this.
No, and I think that's a great agenda. I think, talking about human resources in the Middle East and Dubai will really give our listeners some value. And then, like you said, we can talk about the details about CIPD.
Yes. So I remember 10 years ago when we came to this market, HR was more of an administrative function. And today I'm happy to see how HR is evolving as a strategic function. And a lot of importance is given to HR designations, qualifications, certifications. So having said that, how is your experience with CIPD so far?
It's been amazing. I think to see CIPD in a region received as a gold standard in HR is very rewarding to see. And we're delighted to be partnered with WorkX to now give the ability to individuals to get CIPD level 3 or level 5.
Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful.
So I thought what would be really valuable today, Yogesh, is you talking about your experience about HR in the Middle East, because I know it's been evolving over the years and you come with amazing experience and credentials. So let's maybe talk about that and your experience of HR.
All right. So like I was discussing with you before this meeting, that HR is not what it was 10 years ago. HR is like any other function, evolving very, very fast.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad and happy to see how HR in the Middle East is completely different than what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about AI, we are talking about ethics, we are talking about technology, we are talking about, the best practices, global best practices. And I would say UAE, especially Dubai, is leading the way when it comes to HR practices. And it's very heartening to see that we are in a market which is now at par with the global standards. And that's why global education is also very important. So what I have seen is over the period of last 10 years, more and more organizations are now asking for certifications, especially like CIPD, SHRM, or HRCI or CPE.
Yeah.
So you being a career advisor, you also understand the importance of having that, designation or the certification, on your CV,
Absolutely.
which makes you stand out from the crowd.
Yes.
Right. So that's what I have been seeing. And I'm like I said, it was my mission 10 years ago to support as many HR professionals as I could. So I'm happy, and I wanted to share with you that over the last 6 or 7 years, we have trained more than 5,000 HR professionals.
Amazing.
We have a community of more than 2,000 HR professionals. We organize awards, we organize events, and we have a lot of free value that whatever we can provide, like this session.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you struck a very important point there about validation. Getting CIPD is not only about learning, but it's also about validating to the open world that you meet a particular standard in human resources.
Yes. And I think on that note, we can talk about CIPD.
Yep.
Yeah. So what I know about CIPD is that it's It's an organization more than 100-year-old.
Yeah.
They started in 1930 as a welfare association.
Yep.
And over the last 25 years, they have started the CIPD qualifications. They have got charter, royal charter, and then more than 160,000 members.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's one of the most reputed HR bodies in the world.
Yeah.
So, like, I want to know, of course, on behalf of all the learners and on behalf of WorkX alumni, I want to know how it can add, value to their career.
Absolutely. So I think, there's many different benefits of getting a CIPD, whether it's level 3 or level 7. First and foremost, like I said, is about validation. It validates that you meet a particular standard for knowledge in human resources. And there's many other fringe benefits to that as well. It's about leveraging your career to get the most value out of your career. So when applying for roles in human resources, even if it's not a prerequisite to have CIPD, by the fact that you have CIPD status is going to allow you to leverage things like your salary. And like you said, now that the Middle East is really meeting that global standard in HR, it's going to be, a standard that's going to continue from this day forward, that people do meet particular standards, and CIPD is the gold standard. So that's why we're here today, to explain that to people. And I think, one of the other massive benefits of CIPD is the membership. To have such a large membership base of 160,000 members, you can bet your bottom dollar that as an individual, when you achieve that CIPD status, you are now part of a global community, who are vested in keeping up to date with HR trends. And that's what the membership is about. And the membership is actually included when you get a CIPD through WorkX.
Yeah, that's great. So now let's talk about these 3 levels of qualifications. Level 3, level 5, level 7.
Yeah.
So a common question that many people ask is, what is the difference? And which certification is applicable to me?
Absolutely. Yeah, so level 3 is very much for individuals that are looking to enter HR or have very limited HR experience. So if you are just starting your career as a HR assistant, HR administrator, the level 3 is what you want to go for. Level 5 is for people who have more of a tenure in human resources. So have been within HR probably for 3, 4, 5 years.
Right.
There is no black and white. However, when joining WorkX to start your CIPD, we will make sure that you go on to the right level. So we'll make sure we understand the number of years work experience, because if you don't meet that standard, then we're going to recommend you go for the level 3. At the end of the day, it's important you go for the right level, because we want to make sure you enjoy your learning and we want to make sure it's at your level, right? So, and then for the level 7, you've got the MCIPD status or the FCIPD status. This is for people in strategic roles. It's a much more intense course, especially for the MCIPD. FCIPD is a whole nother process altogether, which maybe we can save for another webinar. But the MCIPD, the level 7, this is, you're looking at a couple of years to complete this.
Right.
And much more intense. And your experience needs to be probably over a decade worth. It's a master's level qualification.
Right. So summarizing what you just said, level 3 is for someone who wants to start their career in HR.
Absolutely.
Maybe want to shift their career in HR. They are doing something else.
Yeah.
Like a teacher wants to become an HR, salesperson wants to become an HR.
Absolutely.
Level 5 is for someone who is already in HR.
Yep.
But they are not yet at strategic level.
Yeah.
And they are not handling strategic responsibilities. And level 7 is for someone who is at strategic level.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think that clarifies. And now let's talk about CIPD assignments. So we are going to share the level 3, level 5, and level 7 syllabus here. You can see on the screen. Now let's talk about another question that people ask, how to pass your CIPD in the first attempt, and what kind of questions you expect in CIPD exams?
So let's talk about the differences between the different levels when it comes to units and assessment. So level 3, there's actually 3 units, and for level 5, there's 7 units. At the end of each unit is when you need to complete your assessment. Talking about more about the delivery method and how we administer those assessments. So first of all, you actually get a draft attempt for each unit when it comes to the assessment, and then you get 3 formal attempts. If at the end of your 3rd attempt you fail, then you go back to the beginning. But in answer to your question specifically, 3 units for level 3 and 7 units for level 5.
Level 5.
Yeah.
Okay. And so this will be an obvious question. How can I fail CIPD?
No, it's a very, very important question, and one which many people ask, because at the end of the day, you're investing in a qualification here, and it's probably the case that you're investing it from your back pocket. So you obviously want to make sure that you pass CIPD. So there's a lot of tips that we can give you, but let's talk about maybe the top 3 reasons why people fail their CIPD assessment. So number 1 reason is failing to actually answer the question. So when it comes to the assessments in CIPD, many of the assessments will ask you to either examine, analyze, or describe. And what a lot of people get wrong, or many people get wrong, is the failure to actually understand what that verb means.
Yes.
So whether they should analyze, describe, or they fail to actually pick up on that in the question. And rather than analyzing, they might describe. Or rather than describing, they might analyze.
Right.
So they're failing to essentially answer the question. So it's really important that when you get to that assessment, you read the question, that you understand verbatim what that question is asking, in particular, the verb that's being used, and making sure that we follow the criteria of that question.
Right.
Second most important one as to why people fail, especially in the modern world now, is the use of AI. So where it used to be plagiarism, some people are doing now is using AI to answer. And this is a big no-no. If you're going to use AI, even to rejig your answer, even if you write the answer and say, right, this is a great answer, let me use AI to rejig it and maybe word it better. This is something that we don't recommend. At the end of the day, these assessments are here to validate and verify your understanding. So really important that you don't use AI because our system, along with CIPDs, will actually test your verbiage and everything about your answer against AI parameters. And if we see that AI is used, you're going to fail the assessment.
Right.
The last, but by no means least, as to why people fail, is failing to format their referencing correctly. So throughout your assessments, you're going to be asked to reference. And if you fail to reference those incorrectly in terms of the format, then again, this is a reason for failing.
Right. So again, to summarize, it is referencing, use of AI, and lack of comprehension of the question.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got it.
Okay, wonderful. Because it's very similar to other exams also. So I would like to also clarify here to people who are listening. So the most popular bodies for HR evaluations like SHRM or HRCI or other CPD UK, etc., most of them would have multiple choice questions, whereas CIPD, they have assignments.
Yeah.
And even in those multiple choice questions, comprehension of the question is very important.
Yes, absolutely.
Because this is how they trick you in that exam.
Yes.
And the same applies to CIPD as well. And I completely understand where the examiner comes from here because in Bloom's taxonomy, it is one of the HR concepts or L&D concepts where we discuss that remembrance and understanding is only the basic level of learning. The higher level of learning is analysis, examining, criticizing.
Yeah.
That gives you the next level of learning. and you learn better when, you get into those things.
Absolutely. It's showing critical thinking, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the point of CIPD qualifications as well.
Yeah.
Because it's not just evaluating whether you remember stuff or you know stuff, but also can you apply stuff in given scenarios.
Absolutely.
And I think that as an HR gives me power, because if I can apply something after learning, that gives me confidence that will reflect in my interviews, my next job search, or whatever I do in my career, in the job itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's really, I think, the right approach by CIPD. Let's talk about some other questions as well. Some questions that we commonly get. So I'm going to, ask some of those questions.
Yeah.
How is the course delivered to us? In this case, when WorkX and eCareers together, they are helping participants. Would you elaborate like how we can?
Yeah, well, arguably, we like to think that we deliver CIPD in the best way possible, and this is through a blended learning method. And what this means is that the individual or the learner gets the best of both worlds. It's a hybrid approach in which you get to interact live with your tutor, whilst at the same time learning in a self-paced manner. So when learning CIPD with WorkX and therefore eCareers, you have the ability to engage with your tutor on a regular basis, be that through live Q&A sessions or prep sessions for your assessments. And at the same time, you can go through the curriculum in a self-paced way.
All right. So, yes, and I would like to again stress on the point where we understand that it's not just the UK qualification that you are signing up for. You're also getting Middle East relevance with WorkX.
Absolutely.
Because we do provide additional sessions to them.
Yeah.
So they can apply the knowledge, the global best practices that they're learning.
Yeah.
In the Middle East context.
Yeah.
Right. So I think you are right that they're getting best from both the worlds. And there are, like you said, live sessions as well as recorded classes, and all the assignments are there. One of the questions that I receive often is, what if I fail to submit my assignment as per CIPD standards? What happens then?
So what if you failed?
What if I fail to submit my CIPD assignments as per their CIPD standards?
Yeah. So when it comes to submitting your assessments at the end of each unit, the first thing is you have the ability to submit a draft assessment. This draft assessment will go to your tutor, and your tutor will provide you feedback as to what you need to do in order to pass formally that assessment. You then get 3 attempts for those assessments, 3 formal attempts. After each formal attempt, if you are to fail, again, you will get feedback from your tutor. If on the 3rd attempt you are to fail, then you go back to the beginning of the process. However, the question will be a different one. So essentially, you start the cycle again if you are to fail any of your units.
Yeah.
But after the end of each assessment, you get that direct feedback from your tutor in order to improve, in order to be self-aware of what you're getting right, what you're getting wrong, so you can resubmit again.
Right. Okay. So, I mean, if there are 3 drafts and, there are...
There's 1 draft, 3 formal attempts.
Three attempts, right? So, which means that I cannot go wrong then, right?
No, essentially not. No, you're putting in the right work as they're each attempt. Yeah, absolutely. You're on a winning path.
And I think that is the reason why we have such a high passing percentage as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We're extremely proud to have a 99.6% pass rate.
Yes. Wonderful. And the next question which I commonly get is, which stream should I choose, people management or learning and development, especially for CIPD level 5?
Yeah, so the L&D is probably considered the more niche option for level 5. So my recommendation would be is if you work within L&D and you're pretty certain that L&D is going to be a big part of your HR career moving forward, then L&D is the right path for you. If it's not, then go down the more generalist route, which is the more popular one, but doesn't necessarily make it the right one. Because like I said, if L&D is your pathway, then stay with the L&D.
Yeah. So when someone asked me the same question and the person said, I already have a very senior level certification in HR that proves my people management capability.
Yeah.
I suggested him learning and development because there are two core domains of HR. One is talent management and second is talent development.
Yeah.
So if you want to focus on talent management, so that's where people management, it's a synonym for people management.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Talent management.
Yeah.
So you want to have generalist capability, you want to become an HR leader, you want to become a CHRO, that's your goal, then you can go for people management. However, if you already, like in this case, you already feel like I have a senior level certification,
Yeah.
but you want to develop your talent development capability, this is where you can take a CIPD qualification that serves two purposes. One, you have a CIPD qualification.
Yeah.
And second, you have a specialization in talent development.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it applies to people in both the categories. Someone who want to build a generalist role, they can go for it. Someone who already are certified, they can go for the level 5, L&D as well.
Absolutely. And I think, the one thing that we love about WorkX is I believe you also do a career counseling session, don't you?
Yes.
So when people inquire about which CIP to take,
Yes.
your amazing people here will make sure we understand and recommend where we can.
Right. Right. The next question we usually get is about the support that we get.
Yeah.
From CIPD, from WorkX, and from eCareers.
Yeah.
So if you can just explore that.
Yeah. So, at the end of the day, delivering a curriculum is one thing, but how we support you is just as important, because if you feel anything is going wrong, or you feel you need further understanding, or if there's any misunderstanding, how we support you is high on our agenda. So we've got basically 3 ways that we support you. Number 1 is WorkX. So if you feel throughout your learning journey there's any misunderstanding whatsoever, then Yogesh and his team is available anytime over WhatsApp or whatever the case may be to support you. If you also want to reach out to your tutor, then you have access on your LMS, your learning management system, to reach out to your tutor directly. Your tutor will help you with assessment prep. They'll help you with any part of the curriculum that you may have a misunderstanding on, or it may be that you're just confused about the syllabus or the learning journey. Your tutor is there to help you. If there's any issues with technical issues, then also eCareers in conjunction with WorkX, again, we're here to support you. Our service level agreement to you is that we get back to you within 24 hours, but in reality, we get back to you much sooner, typically 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, that's great. That's absolutely great. Yeah, so I feel, Andrew, the importance of CIPD in the region is increasing. And we have seen the rise in number of qualified applicants, CIPD qualified applicants also. But I think we have a long way to go, in terms of how many people are certified or qualified versus how many should be. So we have a long way to go in this region. So you being a career advisor also, I want to put this question. Do you think such certification, such qualification, they provide you an edge in your career?
Absolutely. I think at the end of the day, the Middle East, in particular, Dubai, is a rapidly evolving economy, a rapidly evolving commercial landscape. And organizations now are looking for top-tier talent. And CIPD is one of the surefire ways as an individual to be top-tier when it comes to the job market. So, considering CIPD is not a question, is kind of a must if you want to take your HR career seriously.
All right. So, it's a must, you said.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. one advice that you would give to someone who want to pursue CIPD certification or qualifications coming year, 2026?
I think is to really use the most of what CIPD has to offer. So look, we've obviously talked a lot about the levels today and how we can pass each level, but CIPD is much more than just acquisition of knowledge. It's about that membership, it's about that community, and it's about the ability to open up your network. And as we all know, the Middle East and Dubai especially is built on networking. And by you having that validation as a HR professional, it's going to open up your network. So therefore, my advice would be to leverage that as much as you can. So once you've got your CIPD level 3 or level 5, is making sure you leverage that validation of your qualification to say, great, my network is now that much bigger. I now need to utilize it. I now need to leverage it because the people are now going to respect you that much more.
I completely agree with that because I have seen myself, across different communities of HR, how a verified and a qualified or a certified HR professional is seen with respect.
Yeah.
And we expect that there is a certain degree of competence which is already there in the person when we meet, a certified professional.
Absolutely.
So that I have seen, because I have done a lot of qualifications over the last 20 years or so. And I can tell you, Andrew, my growth as a professional have increased when I started learning again. So my first certification was back in year 2012, which was almost after 5 or 6 years once I started my journey. And usually people feel like, I already have a job, why I need to learn? And I got my first certification that year. I got almost 50% increment.
Nice.
And I could see how impactful it was.
Yeah.
So the piece of paper is not impactful, although it is. But what I realized was that it was not piece of paper that was impactful. It was the confidence that I got. It was the application of the knowledge.
Yeah.
That gave me this confidence that, I can solve any kind of problems
Yep.
with respect to HR function.
Yes.
Right. So that's the real empowerment that we get
Yes.
out of education. And I always say the biggest investment is investment in your own self, in your own branding.
Yes.
So look at these certifications as self-branding opportunities.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So because for companies, that, for our organizations, we spend thousands of and hundreds of thousands of dirhams on our branding. But how much an individual professional spends on his own branding? Right. So, and I think this is what I recently read this article that in future, working professionals would be seen as individual brands, not just professionals. You will not get better opportunities just because you are working in ABC organization.
Yeah.
You're going to get better opportunities because you are investing in your own self.
Absolutely.
And that's what I have realized in my journey. That made me who I am today because I kept on investing in myself.
Yeah.
Right. And I have seen a lot of HR professionals. They did not work for big organizations, but they became very successful later on just because they kept learning, they kept on investing on themselves. And I've seen stagnant HR professionals, same level, same position, it might be a multinational company, but same role, just because they are not learning.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I think it's a huge differentiator. And I think it's a sign of a fixed and growth mindset as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone,
At the end of the day, no one cares about your career more than yourself. So yeah, absolutely. Invest in your career, invest in your learning. Absolutely.
yeah. All right.